My company doesn't just let any stray in. Don't think I'll make an exception for you just because we have a history." When I got home and saw Isabella's message, I fell silent. I reread our message history. Where exactly did I express any desire to get back together? I replied, "Don't worry, I don't eat leftovers. I'm just looking for a job." It took a long time for Isabella to reply, "You'd better mean that. My ex-girlfriend Isabella's company is a well-known, publicly listed giant in the industry, exclusively recruiting top talent from prestigious universities. I, on the other hand, am just a lazy student from an ordinary college. If it weren't for Isabella, I wouldn't even have a chance to interview." I cherished this opportunity. The next day I woke up early on purpose, tidied myself up, and changed into a more formal outfit. When I went outside, I discovered Isabella's car had been parked downstairs for who knows how long. It had been 2 months since we broke up, and this was our first time seeing each other again. She was wearing a high-end designer dress, and that Maybach, though understated, still drew quite a few stares. To prevent a crowd from gathering, I quickly got in the car. My university is practically in the suburbs. It's at least a 2-hour drive from there to here. Looking at the woman driving, I wanted to say something but held back, finally unable to resist. "Are you wearing perfume?" "Just a little." "And you got your hair styled?" "Just a quick touch-up." "Is that high-end designer dress new too?" "It was delivered yesterday." Her exquisite, formal makeup, more elaborate than a celebrity's, made me look like a country bumpkin next to her. Isabella's Maybach was too conspicuous. After all, I was going for an interview. I couldn't be too flashy. I'd never seen anyone get a personal ride from the company's CEO to an interview. When we reached the bus stop nearest to the company, I asked her to let me out. I smiled apologetically. "I'll do my best in the interview. Can you give me a hint about what the interviewer will ask?" Her hands on the steering wheel, she gave me a cool glance. "Alex, I'm not your girlfriend anymore. I have no obligation to disclose that to you." I nodded. I was just trying to break the awkward silence with a joke, not actually trying to get inside information. Isabella always kept her professional and private lives separate. She would definitely be fair and just about the interview. Giving me, her ex-boyfriend, a chance was already a huge stretch. I arrived at the company, stated my purpose, and someone enthusiastically led me upstairs. The culture at a big company was indeed great. I felt a little less nervous. Walking into the conference room, I saw Isabella sitting in an office chair in front of the massive floor-to-ceiling windows, looking at my resume. The spacious room held only the two of us, eerily quiet. I waited for a long time before I couldn't help but ask CEO Thorne, "Where's my interviewer?" She looked up. "It's me. I'm just an inter." "Isn't it making a mountain out of a molehill for you to interview me?" Isabella let out a cold laugh. "Alex, you haven't changed a bit." Use and toss, without a second thought. "Wait, aren't we getting off the topic of the interview?" I tried to steer it back. "CEO Thorne, I'm very sorry about the past. I'll definitely fix these bad habits when I start working." "You think I don't know you? Can you even change? Without me cooking for you, does your food taste good? Without me to hold, do you sleep soundly?" She pulled out a contract, grabbed my hand, and wordlessly pressed my thumb onto it. "Sorry, you're hired. Don't think I'll go easy on you just because we used to date. No matter how exhausting the work is, you'll have to grit your teeth and bear it. Otherwise, a massive breach of contract fees waiting for you." On my first day of work, I sat at my computer desk, focused for 3 straight hours. I had been binge watching short videos at my desk for 3 straight hours. Not far away, Isabella worked diligently. When she worked, she wore gold-rimmed glasses, which made her seem even colder. I took off my headphones and looked at her. Noticing my gaze, she understood, picked up her phone, tapped it a few times, and put it down. "I've renewed your VIP subscription. Keep watching." I nearly fell out of my chair. "No, no need." I stopped her. A faint scent of lavender emanated from her, the same body wash I had picked out for her back then. She turned her head, her eyes carrying that familiar cool indifference, but she couldn't hold it, then curved her lips and hugged me. "Even though we broke up, seeing as you miss me this much, a hug isn't out of the question. Where did you get the idea that I wanted a hug?" I couldn't help but remind her, "Isabella, we broke up." She huffed, "You broke up with me just because I can't handle extra spicy hot pot." "That reason is ridiculous." I said, "when partners have different tastes in food, it affects the end. It's hard to make it to the end." She said coldly, "Hard to make it to the end." Seeing her meaningful expression, I had a bad feeling. Arguing with Isabella was indeed a terrible choice. That afternoon my workload suddenly exploded, and I became the last one to leave the office. And as I left, that detestable Isabella was still as detestable as ever. A few days into the job, my dorm roommates started complaining in our group chat, not wanting to go to work for another single day. Sinned in a past life to have to wake up early for work in this one. Who invented good morning? What's so good about the morning? Only 2 days on the job, and my boss already called me stupid. Hilarious, being smart comes at a different price. I also sent a message, "I don't want to strive any more. I want to go live in the mountains and become a monkey." Me too. Same here. That day Isabella was out for a meeting. I was lazing around in the office watching short videos when a slightly flamboyant man walked in. He was shocked to see me. "Alex, what are you doing here?" I yawned. "Working, what else?" He pointed at the short video playing on my phone. "You call this working? You're the one who dumped Isabella, and now you're back, clinging to her. Have you no shame? You think she'll forgive you?" The man in front of me was named Julian, one of Isabella's most ardent pursuers. When Isabella and I were dating, he tried to steal her away many times. He was also the first one to post a celebratory message when he heard we broke up. Now, seeing me here, Julian couldn't believe it. "Isabella is mine." "You already broke up with her. Why are you back?" I said honestly, "Because it's 10 to 5, weekends off, no overtime, 3 free meals and afternoon tea." Julian was incredulous. "Is that all the ambition you have?" I nodded. "Yeah, jobs are hard to find. Then you can scram and come to my family's company. I can give you all those benefits. I'll even double your salary just as long as you stop clinging to Isabella like glue." I said, "Switching jobs requires paying a breach of contract fee." I decided to take it with me to my new job. Julian urged me, "Hurry up. If Isabella sees me taking you, she'll definitely flip out." I nodded immediately. "You got it, boss." As fate would have it, just as we reached the elevator doors, Isabella's figure emerged from within. Returning from her meeting, Isabella saw Julian, then noticed me behind him and the thermos in my arms, instantly understanding. Her face darkened. "Where are you going?" "To the restroom." The movement was too big, and 2 packs of crackers I had taken from the desk fell out of my pocket. I smiled awkwardly, and as I bent down to pick them up, 2 sausages and a packet of instant noodles also fell out of my pocket, all taken from the office. Isabella laughed, as I thought. "You still love the snacks I buy." Julian's eyes widened. "Is that the point? Isn't the point that he's trying to abandon you and leave again?" "Isabella, I just dangled a little bait and he was ready to pack up and jump ship, even taking crackers and sausages with him. He's only after your money. How is a gold digger like him worthy of your affection?" Isabella said, "Having money is one of my strengths. Him valuing my money is him valuing my strengths." Julian was heartbroken. "Why can't you see this man's true colors? When he dumped you, you cried like a dog. You absolutely cannot make the same mistake again. Isabella couldn't take it any more. Julian, if you ever enter my office without permission again, I'm telling your sister to cut off your allowance." Julian was dragged away. The drama ended, leaving just the two of us. I had a bad feeling. Well, I'll be going then. But I only took one step before she grabbed my wrist and pulled me back into the office. "So you'll just follow anyone that easily? Am I not giving you enough?" As soon as the door closed, Isabella glared at me angrily. "Caught in the act of job hopping," I said guiltily. "He really did offer more than you." Before her face could darken completely, I quickly added, "But I know my own capabilities. Instead of being a freeloader at your company, it's better for me to go to his. That way everyone is happy. Happy? You think I'd be happy seeing someone poach my employee from right under my nose?" I said honestly, "I'm just a slacker. I can't create any value for the company. You're so good at running your business. You hire top talent for high salaries. We dated for a while. I don't want you to take a loss." You think I'd be that pathetic again? As expected of a ruthless business tycoon, when she gets vicious, she doesn't spare her ex-boyfriend or her pursuers. After that whole ordeal, I was back at my workstation, putting my thermos back in its place. Since I was here, I might as well stay. But as I casually looked up, I saw Isabella's open laptop. The wallpaper was a picture of me eating cake with cream on my nose. It was actually a pretty good photo. Before I could get a closer look, she quickly shut the laptop. "I just forgot to change it. I can't be so rash next time." But I still had to apologize. I hadn't even gotten close when she turned her back to me. She said coldly, "If it were anyone else, I would have kicked them out already. You've had it too easy here. Go downstairs and get some real training." A new intern dropping in from the sky would, like in the movies, face a storm of challenges, subtle exclusion, and ridicule from colleagues. But there was none of that. After I moved down, my colleagues were very nice to me, unnervingly so. They shared snacks and small items with me, spoke in a familiar, friendly tone with none of the gossip I had imagined. It was as if they knew I was coming down all along. "Bro, do you have connections here?" It was just that when it got busy, apart from the sound of keyboards clicking, the entire floor was as quiet as a giant morgue. Amidst the mountain of work, I remained a slacker. Everyone knew I was just here for the internship certificate. Isabella didn't assign me any tasks, so they certainly wouldn't take it upon themselves to do so. In this age where everyone is hustling harder and harder, I knew exactly what kind of slacker I was. I simply couldn't compete with these powerhouses. Being lazy is comfortable. The most important thing in life is to find a way of living that you like. Thinking back, Isabella and I met through a game. She had just taken over the company and was under a lot of pressure, wanting to play games to unwind. As it happened, she ran into me, a professional game wrecker. That match was an epic, indescribable loss. After adding me, she mocked and attacked me coldly. I said, "Sorry for making you lose so badly. How about this? You can get a slash discount on me." Then I sent her a link for a discount. She didn't reply. Later, whenever I had surveys for school projects, I would casually send her a copy. "Honey, give me some sugar. Honey, give me some sugar, some sugar." After enough sweet talk, "Isabella couldn't stand it anymore. Are you that free?" Isabella said she was very busy, with investments worth tens, even hundreds of millions on the line, and told me to bother her less. I thought she was bluffing. After all, at the time, I was a poor student who had to think twice about splurging on fast food deals. She bluffed, so I bluffed right back. I said I woke up every day in a 5,000 square foot bed with 50 beautiful maids tending to my daily needs and feeding me. The reality was an 8-person dorm room with bunk beds, where my roommates fought like hungry tigers over a single scrap of food. She was shocked by my words, probably feeling that her bluffing skills were inferior. After that, she would message me every day, "Have you woken up from your 5,000 square foot bed yet?" The two of us started chatting aimlessly. It must be said, we got along quite well. After all, anyone can bluff. Then, for a while, she wasn't online as much. Just when I thought we had drifted apart, she suddenly suggested meeting up. Meeting an online girlfriend was something I was naturally happy to agree to. On one hand, I wanted to see what she looked like. On the other, I wanted to hear a real person bluff face to face. But I never expected that she wasn't bluffing at all, and she was even more beautiful in person. We had always clicked when we talked, and since I was a picky young man, I wasn't after anything from her. After spending some time together, we became a couple. After we confirmed our relationship, she treated me inhumanely well. Clothes, shoes, snacks she bought and gifted them endlessly. The first time I went to her mansion in the high-end rich people district, I was truly dazzled. She even casually remarked, "This is just the tip of the iceberg." During summer breaks or when I had no classes, I would go to Isabella's mansion. In front of others, Isabella was a decisive elite, but at home she would take the initiative to cook for me, take care of me, and even plan my diet and rest schedule rationally. My health even improved. She was like a sophisticated machine, able to handle anything perfectly and seemingly tirelessly. Perhaps after living together for a long time, I gradually realized the vast gap between me and Isabella. In every aspect, I was far inferior to her. The internet says women like her prefer a love between equals, but I was just a slacker who wanted to lie flat. I liked riding public bikes. How could I be worthy of someone who drove a Maybach every day? So I deliberately picked a fight over a small matter and asked to break up. The woman, who was on a business trip abroad, immediately flew back overnight, cornered me, and questioned me with red eyes. "You don't reply to my messages, you don't answer my calls. I'd rather believe you were kidnapped than believe you want to break up with me." I considered myself a bad guy and shook my head coldly. "Actually, you're not my type." She choked up and said, "What's your type? I can change." "Not you. Anyone else will do." She was about to go crazy. I knew Isabella had been pampered and praised since she was a child. She had high self-esteem and wouldn't lower herself or abandon her dignity to beg for a reconciliation. She clutched her chest, gritting her teeth. "You think I can't live without you? What kind of man haven't I, Isabella Thorne, seen? You're just a little better than them." She was crying. Even at a time like this she was complimenting me. It was a lie to say it didn't hurt. I didn't want to leave her either. But compared to being forced to break up in the end, it was better to take the initiative to leave. For the next 2 months neither of us contacted the other, until I graduated and was looking for an internship. A job with weekends off and no overtime was really too hard to find. On a whim, I sent my resume to Isabella. I knew it was wrong, but if I was going to be a bad guy, I had to be one all the way. I didn't have high hopes, but to my surprise, she actually let me work at her company. But I understood it was only temporary. I didn't belong here. Working was just to get the internship certificate. Graduating and going back home to inherit the chicken farm and live a free and easy life was my choice. My dad used to say that in life the most important thing is to understand what you really want. Compared to sacrificing my health for wealth, I preferred a life of freedom. As long as I didn't starve, it was fine. Isabella was a company CEO, decisive and pragmatic, with a style that didn't fit my family's teachings. She managed a company of several thousand people, while I would be raising several thousand chickens in the future. She discussed the deceptions of the business world. I lamented that chickens have straight guts and poop right after eating. I replied, I don't. I put my phone down and continued chatting with my buddy. During meetings, Isabella would often lose her temper, and the employees would look at each other, afraid to breathe too loudly. Only when I was there could things return to a semblance of peace. After that, the senior managers learned a trick. They brought me along to every meeting. I was like a talisman of peace, suppressing the angry, ready to explode boss. A few days later, the company got another new intern, a MS Zhao. Compared to me, a good-for-nothing MS, Zhao was a real talent, having gotten in through her own abilities. Her skills were outstanding, and she was beautiful. Since we were the only two interns in this position, we had a lot in common. She took the initiative to greet me. Hey, what school did you graduate from? All right, so we didn't actually have much in common. When I mentioned my school, she pondered. This company is very hard to get into, and you usually need several years of work experience. I was speechless. No, I'm just a slacker who wants to lie flat. To learn from my experience, MS Zhao brought me food every day and built a good relationship with me. Her eyes were filled with a thirst for knowledge. I really couldn't bear to tell her I was a good-for-nothing who got in through connections just to get an internship certificate. When MS Zhao once again asked me for advice and even peeled an apple for me, I shivered. Has it felt colder recently? MS Zhao scratched her head. It has. Is the AC broken? I felt it myself, turned my head, and sure enough saw the woman standing in the dark corner of the hallway. Isabella's face was covered with a dark cloud, her cold gaze fixed on the apple in my hand. MS Zhao wanted to get closer to ask more questions. I quickly moved away and returned the apple to her. When I looked back, the corner was empty. After that, MS Zhao's workload multiplied, one person doing the work of five. Even a slacker like me couldn't stand to watch anymore. That silly kid, MS Zhao, was still smiling cheerfully. This is the company recognizing my abilities and training me. It's almost time to leave. Is there something you need, CEO Thorne? When I got to Isabella's office, she was sitting on the sofa. She hadn't moved since I entered, just looking at me, her eyes hazy from alcohol. Was she drunk? She opened her mouth. Do you like that intern? No. What's so good about her compared to me? Her fair, youthful skin was tinged with red. The cold CEO of the daytime had lost some of her aloofness. Her voice was tinged with an extreme emotion. Why do you always talk to her? But you always avoid me whenever I walk by. I could feel her warm breath on the tip of my nose. I wanted to pull away, but she wouldn't let me, stubbornly taking my hand and placing it on her face. I have to take good care of you. Then she moved my hand downwards, past her neck, her collarbone. Where exactly do you not like? Her voice sounded genuinely puzzled. As my hand was about to touch that towering mountain, it trembled, but she only tightened her grip, not letting me pull away. I said, CEO Thorne, please have some self-respect. I didn't push her away, feeling her heart pound rapidly, my own heart pounding along with it. You thought our family backgrounds were an obstacle between us, so you made the decision to break up with me on your own. If you feel our backgrounds affect our relationship, I can give it all up. Like you said, people need to know what's most important to them. To me, the most important thing is you. I can help you manage the chicken farm, take it international. I need you and I want you to need me. I couldn't bear to look at her hurt expression anymore. At that moment, my determination to walk to the end with her reached its peak. Whatever difficulties there were, we would face them together. Even a slacker has to have responsibility. I placed my hand on her face. Getting back together isn't out of the question. Once the words were spoken, they couldn't be taken back. I returned to my dedicated work station in the CEO's office on the top floor. Before I left MS, Chow looked at me with solemn respect. "So awesome, senior. You got promoted so fast. I have to learn from your example." I could only say, "Then you'll have to work hard." After I returned, the atmosphere in the company clearly improved, and the workload was no longer as frantic. The corners of Isabella's mouth were always turned up. After work she would drive me directly back to the mansion. "Snowy, your dad is home." The chuddy Samwade immediately rushed out, happily circling me, affectionately rubbing against me. Isabella, meanwhile, what did you do for Isabella?